You can sort of tell I was looking forward to this. It may not be the most fitting, but hey, I figured it made sense. Welcome, once again. I would just get it off on its way here. I've been looking forward to this. This game still has a tendency to just put a big stupid grin on my face. Yes, this is definitely the save file I used. We're gonna be using this one because the one thing that I do quite like about Sonic Heroes is that it doesn't actually matter as to whether you have a 100% save file or a 0% save file. It just still allows you to play the story mode as it normally would. You just get to choose where you start from the off, which obviously we're going to be starting from the beginning. But yeah. In order to sort of differentiate this a little bit from the last Sonic Heroes stream I did, I played the PC version with mods, technically speaking, last time. This is the GameCube version. Completely unmolested, more or less, with the English voice acting, because apparently people still have a lot of fond memories of it. I mean, I do too. But enough dilly-dallying. Let's blast through with Sonic speed. Ah yes, another glorious day in this low-resolution canyon. Look at those cacti. Stock cacti. It's about time we found you, Sonic. We've been scouring this desert for 3 weeks. Why can you never just stand still for 5 minutes?
Long time no see.
Enough blathering, Sonic. Have a look at this letter. I've no idea how it's supposed to work. It's technology, which is beyond my understanding. Somehow I managed to incorporate both video and audio into a sheet of paper. I'm not entirely certain as to what kind of technological limitations this particular setting has, but I guess it's funny for little presentation purposes.
Like an invitation to party.
What are we gonna do?
And just like that, Tails lost all his agency from Adventure 2. Also, Knuckles is just here for reasons.
Crack that Eggman.
Sonic, get away from the camera, please! Away from the camera! Boom! You just hear the tornado just crashing into a mountain. And I think that is actually the last time we see the tornado too. Because in Shadow the Hedgehog, it gets swapped out for the Cyclone, which crashes in Circus Park. Guess what, Sonic Heroes? In 24 hours, my new cryptocurrency goes. Yeah, I wouldn't definitely put it past Robotnik to invent his own egg coins for you to exchange as currency in Eggman Land. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Iger, at the very least, contemplated a similar idea for Disneyland. Just, oh, you have to just swap your real money that you'd spend in the thousands here, and you have to trade it out to the very, very unfair rate for our Mickey coins in order to get onto the rides or have any of the concessions. I wouldn't put it past Disney to do such a thing if it wasn't deemed quite as unpopular. Yeah. I gotta wonder though. I think this is like one of the few seaside levels that Sonic goes onto where the orcas just don't want to kill him. Like Emerald Coast, Wave Ocean, the orcas are just out for Sonic's blood, but here, orcas just seem rather tame. Also mysterious proximity-based ruins. I do sort of joke about how this is basically just the modern version of Green Hill Zone, which, I mean, checkerboard walls here, you got the pathways. It is basically just modern Green Hill. But honestly, I don't really mind it all that much. I kind of feel that in terms of aesthetic, I feel this game hits arguably a perfect balance for the series, at least in terms of the modern version, where it's stylized, but not to a ridiculous degree like Lost World was. Because one thing that I know that Sonic fans are apparently allergic to, it's nuance. Yes, it's Sonic Heroes. We're finally here. We made it. Again.
Here we go. Level up.
Obviously, this time around, we're just going to be playing through Team Sonics, which... Honestly, I think, between this and the last time I streamed this is probably one of the more ideal ways to actually go through the series, which is just to pace yourself. Don't go and do all the team... Don't go for all 4 team stories all at once, because you'll just burn yourself out quicker than playing Dawn Trail. Or really, FF14 in general, post-Endwalker. I've had a lot of that on my mind recently due to various interactions I've had.
Looks like we can use that.
I do definitely miss it, though, I'll just say that much. Oh yeah, we have the funky little cannons here, where, depending on your formation, it changes... it changes what direction the cannon goes. But this game is only the Sonic game I've ever played until Mania. Boy, do I have a bunch of recommendations for you, because I've noted over the last couple of weeks, basically just before I started streaming Rush, is that apparently Twitter at the very least is starting to come to the consensus finally that this game isn't as amazing as everybody says it is. I mean, I still enjoy it wholeheartedly, just... I wouldn't entirely consider it the pinnacle of game design, especially considering this came out 2004 alongside, you know, Halo 2, Half-Life 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, San Andreas. It's like comparing this to the lineup of 2004 games. It really, I suppose, there's no wonder that people thought it seemed a little childish and outdated.
Blast away.
But yeah, that's actually brought to mind something that I've been thinking about as well. Yeah, it's nice, free 2,000 points. One thing that I couldn't help but take note of, that being my recommendations for getting into the Sonic series. Because I would have said after the Forces, your best bet to just getting into the Sonic series is to not bother at all, but nowadays I feel more in the sense of just pick anything out prior to 2012 and you should be good. Maybe a little bit more nuance than that now when I think about it, because obviously, I mean, I doubt many people are going to go out of their way to get 06, because obviously you need either Project 06 or a working 360, which good luck finding one of those. It does also seem kind of baffling to me just how the fact that this game never really got a re-release outside of its PC port alongside Riders, which are both abandonware at this point. It's just... the framework is already there, just... spruce them up for a Steam re-release on modern consoles, and Bob's your uncle. It's like one of the more baffling things I'm currently in the Sonic series, I know, it's just the lack of a PC port of this and Riders. Because Riders is also a game I particularly enjoy as well. Come on. You know, I never really noticed as a kid that allegedly, at the very least, you could just get a better boost just by holding down the B button as opposed to mashing it, as is indicated on the HUD there. Like, it's like, wow, technically the first iteration of the boost formula. And nobody likes it. Definitely for the just nostalgic. Sonic Rivals by the Def Jun. Yeah. I don't think I've actually heard of that one, unfortunately. Then again, I've never really had the opportunity to play Rivals because I never had a PlayStation Portable. Alright, Escape from the Ancient Ruins. Right here in Ocean Palace, or... assuming by generation standards, the modern version of Hydrokaiti Zone. Hey, don't blame me, blame the designers of Ocean Palace / Seaside Hill Classic version. But I think we can see now why people aren't exactly, are a little cooling off to this game, let's just say.
I'm ready to take them out.
EVA games with a... I mean, I wouldn't really say the boost mode from the advanced games counts as the same sort of boost you see in Rush. I think more in the sense of just holding the button down to gain speed. Okay, there was one on the... Okay. Seems interesting enough. They even include rainbows here. So, I'm gonna attempt to get all the Chaos Emeralds here, just don't expect them to fall into my lap in the first stream. It would be nice if they did, because that would obviously make things a lot easier for me in terms of trying to get all the emeralds, in the later streams. Yeah. Starting to recall, it's very easy just for you to fly off the map here. Thanks a bunch, Nicholas. Ah, yes, the triangle jump. A feature which I feel has sort of, just straight up vanished from the series, as opposed to just, boosting on walls. Because apparently, exuding ninja skills isn't good enough. I'm just trying to think, what was actually the last game to feature the triangle jump? I think it might have been, Shadow? Could be wrong. At least that's what comes to mind for me, because I've, for the longest time, just been in the mindset of wanting this series to revert itself back to 2005. Planned franchise for back... Okay. This turtle's... there's so many jokes from old playthroughs that I could do here, which probably won't make any sense in the context of just playing for this myself. I gotta say, that is just a picturesque rainbow there. It's like you cannot ask for a brighter rainbow, even though there's no rain for it to bow. Yeah, okay. I thought it might have been Shadow. I don't really get why, though, because it seemed like a fairly cool Oh. That's no way for us to go forward. Now owned by Namco. Okay. Yeah, that's one thing I've also taken note of, is that it's fairly easy for you to get hit if you're not careful by those lances. Like, these bazooka robots, which don't actually have bazookas because their projectiles don't explode. Perfectly fine to deal with. The lance ones, however, you can just accidentally bump into their lances and, yeah, like that. I can definitely see them being a big, annoyance factor for certain players. That and how long some of the levels go. It's not too bad so far, but I can definitely see the concerns. Alley-oop. I didn't need to do that at all. I really got to say, just, I think this is probably the only level to have water effects, and they look surprisingly good for 2004. I mean, after Sonic Adventure, I'd assume they'd put pride into water effects, but still. It's like, wow. Haven't seen water effects that good since Halo 3. I mean, obviously there's splashes to worry about, but just as a water texture, that's like miles ahead of just the tile setup they had in Adventure 2. Probably not the best place to really get a peek at it, but oh boy! Wants to be remade? I wouldn't be opposed to it, though. Alright, let's see if I get hit by the rock on the way over. Okay. Yeah, I've noticed that rock can just hit you on the bounce there, if you're not careful. And you just fall into the water out of your own control. I feel that's a problem this game has a fair bit of, is that a lot of the deaths feel out of your control. Dreamcast is good for water effect. Yeah, so I've heard. Otherwise they wouldn't have put Big in the game.
That was
So far, so good. Yeah, in terms of this game being remade, I've heard rumors saying it's being remade, it's not being remade. I'm not really super fussed about whether it gets remade. I just figure it'd be nice. At the very least, for this to get a proper remaster. Honestly, I think that's what I'd want more so than a remake, just for this to be remastered and available.
Yes!
That was amazingly easy. Heroes, I think, would benefit most from a remake. Yeah, I suppose at the very least to help mop up a lot of the jank, but then again, you gotta deal with Flynn's writing, and do we really want Flynn to be writing Heroes and this basically just turning this into the Battle for Angel Island arc again? Ever seen... I'm assuming you mean Ocarina of Time. I played that years ago. Oh, here he is! AI-generated Robotnik. Yeah, and he kind of sounds weird, like his voice isn't actually real at all. I do kind of like that little exchange between Tails and Knuckles, where Knuckles is sort of like a big brother figure to Tails. Also, yeah, super easy boss, where you could just mash the B button. You're already scrap. Sonic gonna reference basket. I mean, yeah. So that's how you deal with that as Knuckles. Oh, we're going right with the AI. Let's just say they put it through a lot of processes and get it just right. He's not a historical figure. Anyways, welcome to Grand Metropolis.
Looks like Eggman escaped into the city.
Eggman's robots are taking control of everything.
This area... Hokuto Harutsuken. Hakurutsuken. Yeah, this in particular setting never made sense to me. In the grand scheme of, you know, we have basically Rio and Station Square and realistic San Francisco in the last game, and all of a sudden here we are in Coruscant. I was just wondering, how does this fit in with the more realistic looking worlds of Adventure 2 and Unleashed, and good luck asking Flynn about it. Yeah, I can definitely see why a lot of people wouldn't be too fan of this game, especially with the insistence on Yuji Naka to map every single action to one button, because so you could either get a light dash or you could get a rocket excel. It's the same issue that vanilla Adventure 2 had as well, where it's just like you could get a light dash, you could get a bounce attack. Let's go gambling. Is this Sonic World or Earth? That's the million-dollar question, because there's nothing saying that this isn't the same E-Arc that Adventure 2 was based in. Unless you really want to go hit up the Two Worlds conspiracy theorists, which I would rather not. Yeah, I feel aside from the fact that this place makes no sense in the context of the wider Sonic world, I do, at the very least, like the setting of this particular stage, and as well as its future iterations in various later bits of Sonic media, like the Olympic Games. I'm pretty certain Grand Metropolis appeared at one point. I know Crazy Gadget did, and that was pretty cool. Also, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna be able to play the Olympic Games without any sort of Wiimote, or how to set up a Wiimote in the context of my PC. Also, generally like how the level looks. Yeah! Use the D-pad in order to switch characters. I mean, that definitely makes a lot of sense in the means of you actually able to expand upon the player's movesets, but yeah, I never really got that, considering this was a multi-plat, and every console there had a D-pad and an analog stick, as far as I'm aware, so I guess they wanted to try and make it simple, but There's such a thing as making it simple to the point where it's obtrusive. Like, I always figured that, I always use this the mod for, the mods I use in Adventure 2, that there should just generally be just a dedicated button for context-sensitive actions like the light dash or just picking up items. You're able to map it out with mods and stuff like Adventure 2 just fine, and for less than extent Adventure, but here it's not so much a, an option. Oh yeah. I mean, as much as I like to point out all the flaws and such, I do still have a lot of heartfelt memories for this game. I'll just say it that much. Regardless of what I say, this game still has a very, very, it has a place in my heart, let's just put it that way. Also, I'm not entirely certain as to, whether it's just that I saw it around the same time. I always used to associate this game with the movie Bugsy Malone. Not entirely certain if anybody's seen it. Just like this game, we love the special stages in here is one of the reasons I want to... Really? That's interesting, because I think most people would be against the special stages and the fact that... Oh, somehow got a B rank there. And that the special stages are the most jank thing in the entire game. And they're much better in basically every other iteration they're in, like the Dream Bobsledding from the Winter Olympic Games immediately comes to mind. Ah yes. My head's spinning. Can't wait to for that line to get old. Let's see how many times we get to hear Sonic and Co. repeat the same lines ad nauseum. I can definitely see why, after this game, a lot of people weren't exactly fond of the Sonic characters talking so much. Just because here in this game it feels as though they never stop. Sonic Heroes was Adventure Free? There's a lot... There are quite a few candidates for Adventure Free, but I think the... the most well... I suppose, agreed upon as candidate for Adventure Free would probably just be 06, because it has the most elements and the same sort of gameplay form as Adventure 1 and a lot of the design stuff that was added in from Adventure 2, and really would have been considered Adventure Free by a lot of fans if it was actually developed good. I've been thinking about wanting to stream 06 again at some point, because it has been a little bit. You gotta wonder. They're all about just having these, a specific power-up to refill the flight gauge. Why not just make the flight gauge a bit, less strict in that case? It feels like they're adding solutions to problems that shouldn't exist. It's just like the live system in Unleashed. Version of Heroes especially that don't feel incredibly janky, make me want to use the super jittery movements. Unleashed 3DS. From what I recall, Unleashed 3DS probably had the best iteration of the hero-style special stages from what I recall. Well, then again, the only other thing was the Dream Bobsled, which also featured Nocturne for some reason. Yeah, that one seemed like a mystery to me. It's like, oh hey, it's Dream Bobsled in the hero special stages, and it takes place on the Nocturne from Sonic Chronicles, the only other time that game is referenced before the lawsuit. That game really just seemed... Winter Olympic Games 2010 just really feels like a time capsule to me in that sense. It was just like... Ah yes, here was this time when Chronicles was considered a notable part of the series, and now it's just gone. Ah yes, the Pendersing. I've been wondering for a while as to when I'd want to start looking into the comics, because I figure that's gonna take up a huge sort of portion of Sonic Sunday. I'm not entirely certain as to how I want to format that, as to whether I want to do like an arc in between games or just do the whole thing. I think an arc between games would probably make the most sense. I'll probably have to look up what exactly... Can I get up on this pulley game? Thank you. Yeah, I think a pulley per... not a pulley. An arc between games makes the most sense to do for Archie, but obviously I'm gonna have to look up an Archie historian, if I can find one, in order to say, at what point should I start and finish? In the time before the Great Pendersing, yep. Back when we were allowed to have good stories in Sonic games. I'm just thinking, there's so many games of the Sonic series that I do want to get back to now, because I was just looking up a video earlier with regards to Black Knight and its story, and it's just like, I remember alongside Vancouver 2010, just that period is just like, I feel sort of the happiest I was with the Sonic series for the longest time, or at least the one associated with the most positive memories, weirdly enough. Not entirely certain as to why. It's the sort of thing that makes me want to go back and sort of reevaluate, if that makes sense. Yeah, let's see if... Okay. One thing I do at least appreciate about the various replays with the teams is that they do, at the very least, spice up the level design a little bit. Because I'm fairly certain with Team Dark here, you could just skip this entire section with well-placed light dashes. Whereas here you just do it for a little bit of extra pocket change in terms of points. So there's not really much point to doing this, but it looks neat. Ever heard of Sonic Rush Revenge? Yeah, I played it. Back when it came out. Hello, that's me. Ah yes, my fellow... That's an interesting question as to whether you'd want to join me on the Archie comic streams, but then again I know, Val, that you're really quite busy. So I imagine it would be fun just looking at all this Archie stuff and just poking fun at it. Oh yeah. Now this takes me back. I remember back when I was a little kid I could never get past this part, mostly just because it's I don't want to say it scared me, just really didn't like the sort of high tense situations which the game puts you in. I do like that it does just the energy here just jumps you up high enough in order to, for you to actually recover. It's just the game's actually being kind. I mean, I say that, but at the end the energy just rapidly ascends behind you when you just so happen to go up a spring. That could have gone a lot worse. No idea what that energy is supposed to be, but oh well. And this is thank you. Sucks the comic ends on a cliffhanger. Oh yeah.
That was tight.
Well, I'm mostly just thinking of pre-Genesis Wave, so I know that later on it's gonna be a little bit more oh, here we go. It's everybody's favorite.
Amy, what are you doing here?
Sonic, this time.
There's totally no way you're missing out on the newest tower reading, Sonic. I'm gonna drag you into Misty's Esoterica, and I'm gonna make you sit down and let me read you your fortune, because that's all we're allowed to do in this series anymore. Romance is not allowed, apparently, so Rouge's whole existence is kind of pointless. But don't tell her that. Anyways, now it's time for this absolute, farce. It feels as though this could end in either 20 seconds or 20 minutes. Or, you know, I could just do that.
Sonic, give up. This time you're mine.
Well, I know some people who will be into that.
Are you playing with that girl's heart again, Sonic?
Get out of here, Big. Get back to your pond, get back to your
Yes!
There, you see? It takes like 20 seconds, and I'm fairly certain I'm gonna get a B rank for that. Yep, 21 seconds. Oh, I got an A rank for that. Seen there is bits and pieces of Sonic Archie comics I used to collect them back in the day. Knuckles comics were an acid trip and a half, so I've heard. With the chili dog incident. So, if Grand Metropolis was something to question the fact that it made most sense, try figuring out this. Just giant casino. Is this a casino for giants? Yeah, this also doesn't really make sense to me, because it said they had 3 days, and it's the first night, and all of a sudden it's like 2 days have passed? It's like, what was Sonic and Knuckles doing that first day? Between coming to Seaside Hill and getting the letter. Unless they just, like, spent like a day just trying to find Sonic, because that probably checks out. Just saying the time scaling here doesn't really make all that much sense. Also, along with this, arguably being the worst level in the game. Hope you like these pinball physics. And just getting lost on the pinball table here. This makes me yearn for casino. Tails is canonically banned from casinos. Is that an Archie thing, or... I feel that's something that I'm, a little detail that I just happened to miss. At least don't forget the time Penda's chill charm of these events. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. The chili dog incident. With the acid-laced chili dog. Because, what were... Because I have no idea as to what Pendas wanted to do with the Sonic comic. I know that it was basically just his platform to just do whatever he wanted with it. I guess just like Russell T. Davis nowadays. This can't be Earth. I mean, yeah, I could definitely see why people actually put stock in that Crackpot 2 Worlds theory because of how ludicrous this game's setting is. I mean, I'm making it look easy navigating all these pinball tables, but I can assure you it's not. Also, nice little fun little tidbit here. Skipper, skipper. Wow, I can't believe that actually works. I was under the impression that that wouldn't actually work, but I guess we're here now. Get out of here, Toidles. He loves keeping Knuckles family members. Favorite wisp? The Chow. Yeah, I suppose wisp conversations would make more sense when I eventually get to playing colors, but... Me, personally, I'll just say this, I definitely preferred the wisps when they were more of a one-and-done kind of deal. As opposed to just being, I suppose it's one way of making the wisps relevant, just making them the entire gimmick of Whisper. That is, of course, if she ever makes it into a game over SpongeBob. This has been pretty much any writer that's picked Sonic back up since today, since he was very hands-off and listed how the uphill. Yeah, pretty much. It's like one of these weird situations, because I remember just trying to consolidate stuff like the Archie comic, Sonic the comic, Slash Fleetway, Sonic X, and the game canon, and just all these different things, just trying to consolidate them into one cohesive package, and of course, as you would expect, my head's exploded. I want to see if I can get the switch up there. This might... I don't think I did that last time. Come on. Ah, yes. Our favorite sound. The sound of Casino Park. Let's get out of here. Knuckles, what were you doing right back there? I don't think I've ever actually managed to get to the VIP table here with Team Sonic. I think I might have done it once, but then again, the lightspeed dash you need to get to it is kind of jank. Get out of here, Toidle. Whistle played by the dude from Kamen Rider W's. Oh yeah, I think I remember, because of course they're missing the most popular wisps of Luna and Joker. That is a good question. What exactly would a Joker Wisp look like? I mean, probably just a big Persona reference, honestly. Just answered my own question there. Guess I was just more sort of thinking the actual Jonkler and his crazy humble gears. I've definitely heard good things about Kamen Rider at the very least. Though back in the day, I mostly just remember watching much more Power Rangers. It really feels I was riding high this particular point in time now that I'm thinking about it.
Not bad.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Fleetway where Tails was banned from casinos. That was pretty wild. Oh, Shinji's dad from Evangelion. That sort of reminded me. I may have tried to get the Blu-rays for Evangelion. I kind of feel a little bit ashamed admitting that because it came out to like $100, which kind of seems ironic considering my stance on the pricing of Crossworlds, but it's like the only iteration of the only Blu-ray iteration of Evangelion which had the original ADV dub on it, so I had to make do.
Leave them to me, Sonic.
Blast away!
Honestly, I can't help but feel it's kind of weird. The fact that they never really utilized a lot of these Badnik designs in the future. I mean, they do crop up here and there, but honestly, I can't help but feel that the robot designs in this game were sort of the perfect Badnik designs in my opinion, because you had the right sort of balance of them being sort of varied for different areas, but still possessing a lot of the sort of "there's bingo on the table." I love that line. Yeah, I feel the robots are a good balance of having actual utility to them while still showcasing off a lot of Robotnik's ego. It's like you can still have various themed types of egg pawns depending on the locale. Like, I'm pretty sure you have specially themed egg pawns in bunny suits in this particular level, especially. If we can, let's see if we can find some. Ah, yes, the gold robots, just in case you want to go for the entire game as though this were a normal Sonic game. Snake, this was supposed to be a stealth mission. I mean, I kind of doubt they'll bring back these egg pawns properly. Or at the very least just have very, very just sort of, I suppose, meeker, warped versions of them like in Forces where they can't even shoot you. How is it that the egg pawns here are actually effective at actually aiming and shooting at you, yet the ones in Forces aren't? Am I American? No. We're playing the European version of Sonic Heroes. Look at all those Eggman's robots. Yeah, you see, the egg pawns here are little bow ties. I kind of wish that they did sort of egg pawn theming in this game a little bit more, to be honest. Like, you could have more sort of night theme ones, or maybe in Frog Force you could have like commando ones. Egg pawns are just like this little fun blank slate that you can just have fun with in terms of specially themed designs for stages. Along with all the various different types of, I keep forgetting the names of the flying ones. I think they're called, like, egg wings. I usually just call them flying pawns. Do the Chaos Emeralds need to be used by male hedgehogs? Yeah, that always seems... Oh. Well then. If you could add or remove something from... That's a very good question, because that's implying of just adding and removing only one thing, because kind of honestly, I'd just rather just go back to 2000 to just removing all the games which were released on 7th gen hardware. Like, you know, just end it with Sonic Riders. No oh 06. Like, the last mainline Sonic game is Shadow the Hedgehog, and I would personally be okay with that. But I know a lot of people wouldn't be, so... Again, that's just sort of my 2 cents. I just sort of accepted that I'm going to be stuck in the past with regards to this series, and I know a lot of people tend to enjoy a lot of the games here, which I don't tend to have as much fond memories of. Yeah, there's one thing I've also noticed about this game as well, just this, along with Adventure 2 and the advanced games, there really is just sort of an obsession of adding a whole bunch of bottomless pits to this series. Also, I quite like the sort of matte painting below there, with just the big holograph 7s. And then again, I'm just sort of a big fan of Neon in general. Like, just looking at this place just activates my neurons. But if I had to just remove one thing from the Sonic series... That's a very good question, actually, because there's a fair bit. My first answer would be Silver, because honestly, I just don't think, with how his design is, with regards to gameplay, it doesn't really fit, but... I guess the Gotta Go Fast meme is another one, because at this point I just can't stand it. It's like, I thought that song was kind of obnoxious back in the day, and now it's just like, please stop. It's permeated the entire franchise, please stop.
Leave it to me. Let's go.
It's like, in terms of Sonic X themes, I always preferred Sonic Drive. Why you gotta rub it in by just showcasing this obnoxious theme song in my face? Well, at the very least, Bingo Highway's nearly over. Trunks the Hedgehog, pretty much. Well, see, I never really got as to why only Sonic, Shadow, and Silver got their own special super forms, because... I mean, I do sort of get in the way of just, those with enough Chaos Affinity should be able to use super forms, so in that case... How come Knuckles doesn't get a super form? How come Metal Sonic doesn't get a super form? I mean, I don't mind them just not dishing them out wholesale, like Dragon Ball did, just to sort of, in the vain hopes of actually making the super forms feel a little bit more special, but... Oh, here we go. This is the way for you to skip that annoying segment at the end of this particular level. There's aerial bingo on the table. I never actually gotten all of those. Stop making a weird yeah, I think I already mentioned this in the Rush playthrough, but... that would sort of imply that they'd have to write a story in which the Soul Dimension is involved, and... Considering apparently Flynn has just made it so nothing bad is happening in the Soul Dimension, Blaze just has nothing to do and nothing to really contribute at this point. I do sort of get the notion of wanting to merge the Soul Dimension again, just so Blaze actually shows up. You know, just to make sort of things easier, but... I can't help but feel that it would sort of just cheapen things a little bit with regards to Rush, because it's like, oh, these games just don't really matter anymore. Because it's like with Rush, we were trying so hard as to prevent complete dimensional collapse with the Soul Dimension and the Chaos Dimension fusing together. Now it's just like, oh, okay, they just fuse back together and everything's fine. It's like with Rush, it's established that they can't really just do that without something happening. So it feels like as though if they're gonna get Blaze to work in a way that she can actually appear in more games, they're gonna have to retcon Rush. Which, I mean, considering that the only way that most people are gonna be able to play it is via emulator nowadays, I can kind of see them doing, but at the same time, the whole obsession with everything being canon, which Where do we draw the line with that? Because I know that Chronicles isn't. So, in terms of canonicity, is Archie canon? Is Fleet League canon? Is X canon? Is Funny Tales on Bench comic canon? Is Robo Robotnik from another dimension or the main universe from the future? That's another good question. It's just like, you have this one character who's a walking, talking contradiction. It really just feels as though Rush and especially 06 and Rivals just really muddied the waters with regards to this game's sort of any sort of semblance of canon, which is kind of why I just rather revert things back to prior to 2006. Because at least there, things made a little bit more sense. And you didn't have all this extra baggage. And I suppose in a weird way it does sort of feel like that, in the way that, it kind of sort of feels as though the series hasn't really gone anywhere. It just sort of reiterating on itself. Mostly in the IDW comics. Thank you, Flynn. I don't mean anything ill. I don't mean any ill will against the man. It's just sort of fun to clown a lot of his creative decisions. If anything, Ken Penn is gonna sue him again. I think, ironically enough, these might actually be the best boss fights in the game. Mostly just because it feels as though the combat, quote-unquotes, is best suited for a lot of these smaller enemies. I kind of wish we got more of these gauntlets, to be honest. This is as long as they aren't just obnoxious like Chaotix Robot Storm. Use the Mega Man crossover special to record on the entirety of the con. Yeah, I know. I know about the whole Super Genesis Wave thing. I, too, have been spent long hours of the night just looking up random wiki articles with regards to Archie Sonic stuff. It would be definitely interesting to get some context on that, like why Tails gets super buff in one issue. Tails, it's sunset already. We're already too late. What exactly is the time scaling of this whole story? What's going on? I don't know, Sonic. Just keep grinding. Ah, yes, the ultimate tell. The fact that Robotnik's mouth doesn't move when he talks. I'm surprised they didn't point that out. Then again, Tails' mouth didn't move when he talked in 06, so what are we to say there? I will say at the very least I am quite happy that this level did come back in Shadow Generations, but at the same time, I do kind of wish we got Egg Fleet in Generations in some form. Because I kind of feel that was like the standout level of the game. Like, again, it sort of makes sense for Shadow to be here, considering it's full of the capsules he was stuck in, but Egg Fleet. Buff. Yep, Miles Chad Prower. Yep. You know what I'm getting at. I gotta say, so far at the very least, it's not as much combat as I recall, because that was one of the main things which I had issues with this game. The fact that it, or I suppose just the main series in general, that it tries so hard in order to try and make combat in the series work when, honestly, given the more sort of speedy arcadey nature of it, as a, well, high-speed arcade platform, I don't really think that combat really fits. Yeah, I still definitely find it kind of weird they didn't include any Shadow the Hedgehog levels, like, you know, Sky Troops, Final... I would have happily taken Final Haunt over Radical Highway again. It's like, you know, Final Haunt, Black Comet, Last Way, it just makes so much sense just confronting Black Doom again, back in a reiteration of his Comet, only souped up with all the weird time warping powers. That would have been awesome. I do definitely kind of want to go through Shadow the Hedgehog again at some point. I'm probably going to plan on doing it near the end of the year. That's sort of a 20th anniversary thing. Just think about that. Shadow the Hedgehog is nearly 20 years old. They're pulling out all the... Never mind. Yep, there it is again. Tails' head is spinning right round, baby, right round. Ah, yes, and the switch puzzles, because I suppose it's not too much of a worry considering they're usually over and done with quickly, but honestly, this game has a lot of the hallmarks of design elements which really just sort of doomed 06. Like the whole thing about just having to stop in order to defeat all the enemies before advancing, like if this is Streets of Rage or something. Like, it's not so bad here because, for the most part, you can just completely destroy most of the enemies without issue, either through level 3 attacks or your Team Blast, but it's like this walked so 06 could fall flat on its face. That's what I'm trying to get at. Did you just reference that one Tails gone with the Yes, I did! And that's all you're gonna hear about that from me. Because apparently everything is canon, including that. And Vel and all of Vel's artwork. I can only assume. Good luck with that. Also, I like how in Shadow Generations, just like here, you can just run on the roof like this. This is like... just a little fun detail.
That was tight.
And now we go... Honestly, this really just sort of feels like how a lot of people seem to observe the whole act system of the classic games, where it's like in the classic games you were going across a particular island, going through different sorts of locales, but you were still confined to one island. But I feel as though this is really sort of the a flanderized version of that, with the perception of, oh, it's just Sonic and friends going for a whole bunch of random completely unrelated locations, because I will admit I'm not entirely certain as to how you get from here, at least with something like Sonic 2 going from Emerald Hill to Chemical Plant, you at least know you're still on the same island, whereas here, it's like you have no real clue. You're just here in Wild West country. Is this close to Mirage Saloon? Who knows? Mirage Saloon wasn't invented yet. I do definitely appreciate how you can just break the level like this, just all these little fun skips. Obviously I would prefer the more sort of arcadey momentum stuff, but I feel we've gotten a lot worse in this series. Like, it still feels close enough to adventure for me in order to not really have too much grievance with it. I mean, I will definitely try to get all the emeralds at some point. It's not 100% necessary considering the save file I'm on, but it wouldn't really necessarily hurt for me to go out of my way to do so, especially when we get to Team Rose again. And I'm gonna try and have a lot of fun with that, just like Amy's weird and wacky tarot card adventures. Thanks a bunch, game. Oh, what up? We're just going for a lot of the jank of Bullet Station. I remember this being a bit of a wall for me in terms of Team Sonic for a long while. I mean, not just because of shenanigans on bottomless pits like that. Already passed the special stage key here. There's a bunch... I'm not necessarily worried because there's a whole bunch of special stage keys, so... if we find one, I'll find one. Sonic. There you are, buddy. I do like the fact these cannons are just giant revolvers, though. It's goofy. It's the right level of goofy. And of course, it's just obligatory camera pattern here because America. Oh yeah, it's supposed to blast it open with a cannon, I remember. Get out of here, you. How am I? I'm pretty peachy. I feel as though when it comes to Saturdays and Sundays, sleep doesn't tend to really come all that well to me. So, apologies if that affects commentary a little bit. They really do seem to like these switch puzzles, I've noticed. And let me just get rid of all yous. Let's see anything else. Oh, I can just break through these. So that's just a shortcut, if anything else. Now that's a big iron. I do really like the whole dynamic here where Knuckles is just the worried big brother while Sonic is just the foolhardy one taking the lead. It's just like, nah, it'll be fine, Knuckles. Sonic, we just literally shot ourselves out of a cannon. Chill, Knuckles, we'll be fine. We do this all the time. Remind me not to come on any more adventures with you, Sonic. Hey, you're the one who wanted to come as opposed to shirk your duties guarding the Master Emerald. Why are you here, anyways? That's a very good question, Sonic. Yeah, this really is sort of the time where they just sort of forgot that Knuckles was supposed to be guarding the Master Emerald, I feel. I mean, it feels as though the last time the Master Emerald was really a big plot point in this game was in the series up until 06 at the very least was like maybe Battle in Advance 3. I will admit these train sections always made me nervous because more bottomless pits. You can't get enough of those bottomless pits. It's like this is a Dims game. What do you think of Surgeon Kit? I don't necessarily hate them. I just another instance of the Sonic comics needlessly engaging in just wanting to fill all their characters with as much trauma as possible. It's like they're trying to apologize for the lack of substance in the stories ever since Colors, but at the same time, just injecting a whole bunch of just trauma dumping doesn't necessarily equal depth and actual, I suppose, good storytelling. Yeah, this particular bobsledding section always tripped me up as a kid. I don't necessarily dislike Surgeon Kit on paper, just I feel like a lot of stuff in IDW could have been handled with a bit more tact, I suppose. As opposed to just, oh, there's so much trauma here. I mean, then again, I'm one to talk. I guess a lot of novice writers really like just filling a whole bunch of the characters with trauma. Didn't know that Tenrec was an actual animal? Yeah, I imagine Tenrecs are definitely quite the obscure little race. I'm just wondering about all the other sorts of races we never really see in Sonic. Like, I know Ferret's one of them. Wow, that base was made out of cardboard.
All right.
I could definitely see there being sort of a toyish aspect to this game, with just the fact that all the characters look like they're made out of plastic. Taylor says, look at all. Why does he say Eggman's robots? Do other robots exist in the Sonicverse? I mean, there's Gun with their hunters and their hornets and their chasers and whatnot. Mr. Time Stones. Yeah, I don't see the Time Stones cropping up at any point in the near future. Alright, more bottomless pits. Let's see how we do. Alright, we're taking care of the most difficult aspect. Now we just mash the A button. What do you think of this, Robotnik? You weren't expecting the master of the homing... Okay, that didn't actually work. Why hasn't there ever been a ferret? That's a very good question.
There's only one way to go. Ready?
It's time for us to fuse. I'm just thinking, I've heard so many of these voice lines repeated in Nozzle Unleashed. It's kind of funny in that way. Let's go over here. There's usually power cores or such around this route. Also, yeah, one thing that I keep forgetting is that power formation can basically just tank a single hit when they have their all the teammates gathered up like this. It's kind of nice. So where's Gun in the series now? Mostly absent. Just around in name only, as far as I'm aware. It's like, oh yeah, we definitely have mentions of Gun in Shadow Generations. They're definitely around. They would, according to Tales 2, they were definitely around in the events of Forces, honest. Just trust me. Not again. The writers forgot Gun. Yeah, pretty much.
There's only one way to go. Ready?
Thanks for the compliments, by the way. It definitely helps with this, rather interesting boss fight. I mean, it doesn't feel at the very least as big as a difficulty spike as the boss fights in Rush were at the very least, so that's any consolation. There's instant kills, but not quite to the same extent. Also, I can't feel a lot of the boss fights in the Sonic series are just generally not that good. I mean, I know a lot of people would point to Frontiers, but even then, it's not really the most substantial compared to stuff that it's usually being compared to, like Metal Gear Rising. It's like comparing a child's drawing to the Mona Lisa. I'm just gonna take this a little bit more slowly. Like hitting a brick wall. Well, yeah. I suppose that's to be expected in some way, shape, or form. Coming through. Yeah, you see, I could tank a single hit, only for me to not have any invincibility frames. Thanks, game. You're really making this easy on me. What's going on? We're fighting Robotnik. You know, classic Sonic affair. We're just here to beat up Robotnik and go home. Oh yeah, I could just spam homing attack when I'm not over a bottomless pit. That works too. I feel in most cases this is where you'd normally have the boss down to his final phase. There we go. It seems as though they say that a lot in this game. It's like, you'll regret this! Ah yes, the power of just spamming the A button. I do like at the very least how he brings back the Hedgehog for the final phase of this. This seems like a nice little evolution from the previous fight. It's kind of a shame the Hedgehog doesn't show up again after this. Goodbye. Pop.
Yes!
Yay, we win! Bop, bop. Guessing that's an C rank.
You know you can't win.
Yeah, I get that question a lot. And look at that! You have been catfished, Sonic! Please ignore the puddle of liquid metal pooling down beneath me. Pay attention to my fleet over there.
Sonic.
It's not an egg.
I mean, technically it is, but it's not like any I've seen. What's all this liquid goo? I was so happy to see Metal Sonic in this game. I suppose in a way this really just sort of felt like the culmination of all the Sonic stuff that I'd gone through previously for the most part, aside from Archie, obviously. Because you got, obviously, Adventure, you got Adventure 2, you got the classic games, you got the OVA, especially the OVA. I think that's the main thing that got me super hyped for Metal Sonic coming back for this game. Favorite Mecha Sonic from the classic era? I mean, outside of Hyper Metal Sonic from the OVA, I'd probably have to give it to, I can't remember which version of Metal Sonic it was. The one from Free and Knuckles. Maybe you as that's one as mental. I'm sure you've seen bigger. At least on Twitch. I do definitely like they bring back the this old sound effect from the classic games. I kind of wish they did more of that. Just sort of small details which aren't quite as superficial. Yeah, I definitely feel I'm going to be going through most of the special stages with Team Rose now I'm thinking about it. Sonic OVA. Yeah, I personally agree with you. At the very least, it's one of my personal favorite bits of Sonic media. As for aside from that, though, it's kind of conflicted, because I kind of feel as though Adventure 1 and 2 and Heroes, they're all like pieces of a greater whole with regards to how I perceive them in the greater Sonic tapestry. It's just like they're pieces of a puzzle, as it were. Whereas with the OVA, it's more sort of a standalone sort of thing, which makes sense because it was supposed to be the pilot for an anime series, which never got off the ground. Supposed to be a bunny? Yes. Yes, it is a Wabbit, which reminds me, embarrassingly enough for those in the server, I've only sort of heard of the horrors of the movie adaptation of Watership Down. And just today, actually, just so happened to find out there's a copy of it on Audible, which was going fairly cheap, narrated by Peter Capaldi. And I was like, yes. Lop-Pid Bun. I'm just thinking as well, going through the Revenge of the Sith audiobook, starting to get into a little bit of a Star Wars move to the point where I kind of want to do some Old Republic related stuff at some point. Considering that seems to be one of the few aspects of Star Wars which has been unmolested by Disney. You know, it's like sort of a safe haven from all the garbage. Where I can just focus on, you know, forms of lightsaber combat and Sith holocrons and the mystery of Darth Revan, as opposed to having to contend with the power of many. And Jake Skywalker. I wasn't sure as to whether I wanted to get too much into Star Wars commentary on something that isn't Star Wars, but I don't think that's going to be for quite a while, because last I checked, I don't think Dolphin plays the Rogue Squadron games very well. At least from what I tested. Yeah, of course. Didn't know the Sonic OVA was meant to be a pilot for an anime. It just makes me incredibly sad. Yeah, I would have definitely loved to see that particular anime take off as well, but I guess it just sort of didn't. So it just split into 2 parts and just left it as a standalone thing, which is kind of a shame because there we go. The particular world of the OVA just feels like one which is rife with opportunities to further expand upon it. But there's so many mysteries about that stuff, like the Land of Darkness just containing a ruined version of what I assume is San Francisco, or maybe New York. I mean, it definitely looks like present-day London at the very least. Is Sonic DBZ coded? No. I'll just say that much. It definitely has Dragon Ball Z elements, but it's not completely DBZ coded as much as I'd say it's Ghibli coded. I wonder, can you do voice acting? I mean, I definitely do silly voices on a lot of my streams, so I tend to just have fun with it.
Yes!
London. Well, it's definitely more abandoned than London, but it's definitely just as much miserable. Ah, the first time we actually visit a special stage. Let's see. The world of OVA still feels the most Sonic free-son. I mean, the OVA technically has humans. Sonic's always had humans, really, if you... considering Robotnik is supposed to be a human. So I don't get the reason why there's just this sort of stigma against humans in Sonic. I guess because of characters like Chris and Elise, but at the same time, I'd mostly just put that down to bad character writing as opposed to the fact that, humans, bad. As opposed to just, bad character writing, bad. I do definitely miss this sort of dreamlike element to the various Sonic games, as opposed to the more depressing-looking frontiers. Okay, Sonic was just gone for a second there. I always thought Fly Formation was like the slowest and most awkward to use of all the formations here. The point was just like, just let me switch back to speed. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna make it this time around. Yep. Yeah, I don't think I can just quit out of this, so I guess we'll just, do that. Humans designs don't look... I mean... I'd definitely say that, Sage was a fairly decent, human-like design. The decision of human Sonic Adventure with suddenly the more dominant species heavily implied to be an isekai. I mean... I do admit it was definitely abrupt for Western audiences, which grew up more so with the likes of, you know, Planet Mobius. You know, the Overlanders and Princess Sally and the Freedom Fighters going up against Robotnik. But I'm fairly certain at the very least that was at the very least the intended way that things were supposed to go in the Japanese version. As yes, I'm just gonna admit it, I definitely do prefer sort of the Japanese iteration. It's not to say I dislike the other iterations, but I think more so just for the main sort of game version of Sonic, I definitely do prefer the Japanese iteration. It's kind of a shame why... It's kind of why I kind of feel it's a shame that X turned out as divisive as it did, because I feel that in some aspects it was sort of the perfect Sonic iteration. It was just like, there's so much stuff in here that's right, but it's frustrating the things that it gets wrong. Like that Sonic just spends most of the time just up on a rooftop. As opposed to, you know, being the adventurer he is. And that sort of reminded me, actually, something that I've been thinking about all day. I kind of feel that the title of Sonic Heroes is kind of misleading, because I've been wondering a little bit as to whether there's actually any Sonic characters which are just out-and-out heroes in an occupational sense, as opposed to just all these different characters who just so happen to do heroic deeds. Like, I'd consider Sonic to be more of an adventurer than a hero, personally. Or at the very least, in the more conventional superhero fashion. Yeah, I feel that's one of the more baffling things, because I kind of feel that the basis of what X was going for could have worked, but I feel it would have been better if Helen was the main protagonist as opposed to Chris. Well, say main protagonist, just human protagonist. Let's just clarify. Because I feel at the very least Helen was more sort of this relatable character that people could sort of associate themselves with while watching. You know, as generally being good-natured and not being just entitled rich kid. Who's just super sad because he's lonely despite having a whole bunch of... just having incredibly doting parents and a loving friend circle. Diet so yeah, pretty much. Would you buy a game called Sonic? I mean, if I could, I would just buy out Sonic Team. Just like, yes, finally, I get to make the changes I want. We're just gonna roll everything back to 2005. And just start all over. I know a lot of people wouldn't like that, just... Probably at a stretch 2009, because again, I do have a lot of fond memories of stuff like Black Knight, the Olympic Games. Weirdly enough, I did enjoy Unleashed when I streamed it, at least more so than I thought I would. Not fair. That's not fair to Sora. I mean, yeah, Sonic was more proactive. I mean, I definitely do appreciate a lot of the humor and some of the other sort of human relations that the Sonic X series tries to establish. Like, obviously, I know a lot of people like the whole thing with Rouge and Topaz. I do kind of find it funny, because it's like, oh. Sonic and Elise kissing is bad, but... Topaz and Rouge sharing the fish course together is totally fine. Make up your mind, fellas. Because apparently a lot of people just, for some reason, just really like shipping Rouge and Topaz together. Great. Thank you, game. Basically, everything's after 20... Yeah, that's what I've been thinking. Just, if I were to recommend the Sonic series to any newcomers, I'd just say to forego anything past 2012, with the obligatory exception of Mania, because... I'll just say it, Mania is probably pound for pound the best Sonic game ever made. In the fact that there's, it has the least things wrong with it. It gets the most things right. I will say, though, we do seem to be blitzing through these levels a lot quicker than I was anticipating. We may end up... gonna have to provoke the frog. I'm just thinking, if this goes on... If we do end up completing before I thought we were gonna end, maybe I'll just spend some time trying to get the last of the Chaos Emeralds. Probably we'll just do that with Team Rose, though. Because it seems to make the most sense to do it with Team Rose. I'm just thinking, can't we just climb up? Okay, I think I remember there being a... Yep, I knew it. Haha, I cheated you! I cheated you! Oh yeah, I remember this this whole section freaking me out as a kid as well. This game, I've noticed, really tends to put you in high tense situations, which I suppose sort of makes sense for this being more of a spectacle platformer, where all the characters are made out of plastic. I mean, yeah, I do technically have all the emeralds on the save file, but I feel it's would only make sense to, at the very least, get all the emeralds again on stream. You know, just so I can sort of simulate this being a, complete run. Yeah, this would have freaked me out as a kid, just that giant alligator just having his entire face clipping through the geometry.
No problem. Piece of cake.
Yeah, I do definitely miss when Sonic says that as well. It's like, Sonic doesn't say his actual catchphrases anymore. Yeah, I'm guessing this is an E rank. Yep.
Cute.
Sonic X was trapped by the old writing of the main character story and keeps... I prefer the non-canon and creepypasta side, I mean...
Look, it's that hedgehog.
Oh, okay, I guess Shadow's just here now. I was led to assume he was dead, but I guess not.
Hey, isn't that...
Sonic!
Talk about being stubborn and
I guess I'm not the only stubborn guy here. Gotta choose. Nah, just his actual catchphrase is like, I'm Sonic, Sonic the Hedgehog, and too easy, piece of cake. As anybody who played Brawl would probably recognize.
man too.
I miss when he said that. Oh!
Hey, that's my line.
I can't wait for that to get recycled by Flynn in Shadow Generations. Oh yeah, long time no see. The perfect thing, the perfect, like, 4 words to give any Sonic fan an aneurysm.
With that hedgehog that looks like my twin.
Alright, let's go beat up Shadow, who's just... I've been wondering a little bit, actually, as to, the fact that Shadow just shows up here. I know that it goes in a little bit more detail as to his survival in the Dark Side story, but at the same time... What do you reckon? Oh, it's already over. Do you reckon that Shadow being here just cheapened his sacrifice at the end of Adventure 2? Because I do definitely feel nowadays, despite everything that happens afterwards, it still holds quite a fair bit of emotional weight. Considering Shadow was supposed to die at the end of Adventure 2. Anyways, Hang Castle. In your own time, game.
Sonic, you sure this is the right way?
I saw Shadow and Eggman hit.
Yeah, I have no idea how we got here from the jungle, but Shadow and Robotnik apparently came this way.
That's the ghost of Shadow we saw
Woo!
earlier.
Stop it, Knuckles!
I will say, I definitely do like this level in terms of its theming. Just, I feel as though, all things considered, I do quite like Spooky Castle levels in the series, and I kind of wish they did more of them, but at the same time, kind of feel divisive on it for one particular fact, which will become obvious as we go on. Yeah, Light Dash really starts to get finicky around this point. Shadow being revealed as being alive in the game has always driven me insane, ruined the entire emotional impact. I wouldn't say... It doesn't feel to me as though it removed it entirely, but more so just dampened it. I do get what you mean, though. Shadow go Chaos Control, Eggman go Fly, traveling is weird. You certainly got that right. Because again, unlike in the classic games where they were just established to being on one island, it feels as though this particular game doesn't have that limitation and is just sort of teleporting up in random locations which have no cohesion to one another. They're definitely all levels that I like, aside from maybe Casino Park / Bingo Highway, but I do also like this little Spider-Man pattern over here on the floor.
You surprised me.
Ah yes, Knuckles trying to hide the fact that he's afraid of ghosts.
Leave this to me.
It really just sort of feels like outside of movie 3, they just kind of just sort of skipped over that little tidbit with Knuckles as opposed to just saying, ah yes, Knuckles likes grapes. That's his only character trait, so we're going to be giving him a grape launcher out of Crash 3 in this next Sonic games coming up. So probably SEGA actually started getting deference and bring him back. I mean, I do kind of get it. And I don't think I would have necessarily minded Shadow coming back had it been that he was given good stuff to do, but then of course they give him Shadow the Hedgehog, which I don't hate as much as I used to, but at the same time, it really is just sort of like the Kingdom Hearts to Advent Children to Cloud Strife. in that it just sort of flanderized and completely butchered his character for the longest time, as being just like this edgy emo boy.
The castle is upside down.
Yes, Tails, thank you, we noticed. About all our Shadow being alive, him not being an android, big... Yeah, that also felt like a weird decision. Just hide that particular, just sort of... little plot tidbit behind just like a 10-minute wait. I mean, I think it was 10 minutes, could have been more.
Deep here. Be careful.
Let's go.
I mean, I do definitely get why they went with the android art, because that's to try and not cheapen Shadow's sacrifice a little bit too much, because it's like, oh no, this definitely isn't Shadow, it's Shadow Light. You see, he's made in China.
Level up.
That was great.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
I do gotta say, I really do like the water effects in this game. I know it's not much, but again, 2004. I haven't seen water effects this good since Halo 3.
You surprised me.
I'm just thinking, it's gonna be a long way off if I ever play Halo 3, because it feels as though for games outside of Sonic and Pokemon, I really got a lot of stuff for me to go through, you know, Halo games, Klonoa games, Final Fantasy games.
Let's go.
Too cool.
Here we go.
Feels I'm gonna be hard done to it. I remember all the time required to know you had to sandbag here for how easy. Yeah, pretty much. It's a lot of time just spent waiting for Robotnik to croak out because apparently he's dying. That you're not actually an android after all, which definitely worth it, by the way. Oh boy, I sure can't wait for them to recycle the entire plot of this game again in Shadow the Hedgehog. I mean, Shadow Generations, because apparently all the series can do nowadays is iterate on itself. It really feels as though it's been ages since we've had properly new ideas. Maybe it's just me thinking it. Love Klonoa series, please come... Yeah, I'd definitely be all for Klonoa 3, but I'm not entirely certain as to how well the Fantasy Reverie series sold, so... Maybe we'll see something else, maybe not. Who can say? I'm sort of wondering what Klonoa game I might stream next, though, because I already did the first two games. Maybe Moonlit Mansion, maybe Empire Dreams. Dream Champ Tournament is definitely one I'm interested in seeing. Oh look, did you know that this statue, when you flip it upside down, goes from Robotnik to Metal Sonic, which is foreshadowing for the twist of the game. Like, I do definitely think it's a cool little bit of level design, it's just... I've heard people just like, did you know, so many times. It's like, yes. I have eyes. I can see. Oh, Fantasy Reverie did very well. Okay, that's good to hear at the very least. So, it's not entirely out of the cards that a new Klonoa game might come out, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I'll believe it when I see it. Oh yes, I think this is the best way of iterating the problem I had with this particular stage. Look at the moon. That's supposed to be the moon we're flying up towards. I mean, this is definitely a super cool sequence, just running up a building like this, but the moon is whole. It's not broken. It's as though Robotnik didn't pee in it at all. I mean, you could say, oh, it's just a... How his chips keep sneaking into the streams. I just like doing that voice, alright? I mean, yeah, you could argue it's just sort of an illusionary thing to do with the mansion, but the moon is still fixed in Shadow the Hedgehog. It's not broken. It's like a direct continuation of Adventure 2, but it missed out on this very specific plot detail that was in Adventure 2. I just can't help but find that a little bit baffling. It's just like, you had one job. I'll probably get more into it when I eventually do stream Shadow again. I always thought this was weird, the fact that there's just a random portrait of Seaside Hill here. There's an alternate timeline where Robotnik doesn't pee on the moon and Shadow doesn't die. I mean, anything's possible at this point, considering all the time travel shenanigans we have to deal with. I do like that. I do love how Sans just poking his head out from the door there.
Leave them to me, son.
Really, just sort of the sort of thing that really gives this level its sense of personality. Also, I think this is really where we start getting that sort of Streets of Rage sort of design philosophy. Just like, you gotta defeat all the enemies to make it through to this next area. Also, that kind of reminds me. I don't think I've tried it out yet. Well, so much for that particular secret key. Get out of here, you. That's my hick. According to him, it looks fine from yours and Shadow because it was conveniently rotated to the sides. Ah, yes, conveniently so. Actually, I want to just try something a little something here. There we go. This is the version where you can just glitch the team bar gate and get infinite team blast right away. I don't think you could do that in the PC version. Get out of my way. So it's like, ah yes, just like in a bunch of other Sonic games, you can abuse glitches in order to make the game better. It's just like Melee. And just like that, we have Team Blast back already. As, of course, the droplets wouldn't be obvious enough. I really did find it funny that it's like, oh, as soon as we get to, like, Shadow Generation, it's like, oh, now the moon remembers it's blown up. Like, are they gonna keep that little plot detail in future games going forward? Who knows? I mean, I do definitely think it would be, fairly helpful for them to just, with them re-releasing Generations, just disregard all the games that came out after it, but considering we got Chaos Island and Sunset Heights, I'm not gonna hold my breath. Ah yes, look, it's Sans. We found him. Isn't it? Haha, funny because Deltarune came out recently. This is the closest we're gonna get to Sans for a little bit. It also reminds me, I did want to stream Undertale at some point. His tail's hitting a non-existent enemy every frame somehow. I have no idea as to what caused it to do that, but it does maximize the Team Blast gauge super quickly, so I'll take what I can get. Yeah, I will admit, something always really did unnerve me about this particular stage. Like, all this sort of grinding on spider webs. It's a cool feature, but it just made me think, oh, we're just gonna run into a ginormous spider at some point in this level, which I'm kind of surprised they didn't do, actually, all things considered. It's like, giant spider web, but no giant spider to go with it. They probably just skipped that for that freaky-looking thing at the end of Cryptic Castle and Shadow the Hedgehog. Donations when? When I get partnership, which... It's a very good question as to when I'm gonna get it. I had the perfect antidote for you, good sir. One little tidbit that I never knew until now. You could just straight up remove the helmet with wind attacks. Not that it necessarily helps much. The moment that's available, you're getting lots of money from me. Well, I mean, you don't have to. I'm just saying that you don't have to donate, but it would be appreciated if you can spare it, but I'm not in any particular position where I'm necessarily begging for donations. I suppose then I would have to really live up to expectations if I start getting money from people. I always did quite like... Oh, more water effects. Nice little underground lake here. I always did like how this place looked. Just kind of wish I could you could explore it a little bit more. Just not tied to a minecart. The song is such a bop. Oh yeah, definitely. It's like one of my favorite songs on the entire soundtrack. On a soundtrack which, unlike Frontiers, is comprised mostly of great hits. I kind of feel that's something that a lot of people tend to forget about Frontiers, is that there's more to that soundtrack than just the Killing Quinn songs. Because you just got a lot of more of Toyotaro and his chip tunes. No, not Toyotaro, Otani. I'm getting my names mixed up. Toyotaro is Dragon Ball. Alley up. Yeah, still no existence of a giant spider around here. I mean, granted, if there was a giant spider in this game, I probably wouldn't have slept for days as a kid. It was like, oh no, it's a giant Itzy. He's here to take my soul. And just sort of trying to chase me all across this weird alternate dimension. It's going. Gives my older brother PTSD thanks to Chaotix. Up. Ah yes, my favorite part of the level. Everybody's favorite part of this level. I think that's the first time I've actually failed that in a long time. Giant robot spider? You know, that probably would make a lot more sense. In all honesty, just giant robot spiders turn this whole thing into Wild Wild West. Ah yes, my favorite part of the level. I was just thinking, that triangle jump always made me nervous, and I was like, now I remember why. Homing attack working as intended, yep. I know you're supposed to hold it so you get more air there, just kind of for gore. So much for getting a good rank on this level. Robot spider would be horrible. Yeah, it would. Again, it would just be Sonic Heroes' version of Wild Wild West. Kind of surprised we haven't gotten any sort of robot spider bosses in this series, in all honesty. Sort of seems like it would be kind of an obvious pick. Like heck, I'm pretty sure Konosuba did a robot spider boss at one point. As I did read a couple of the audiobooks. Alright, let's try this again, Penfold. Normal spiders freaking out. I do kind of find it funny, just being an Igirusujin. Over here, spiders are normally just sort of depicted as harmless things that are useful to keep around the house just for dealing with flies. As detailed in a rather controversial Peppa Pig episode, where it's just like, spiders are super friendly! And then it was banned in Australia because the spiders there will kill you. Because unlike over here, the spiders have also proceeded farther into their evolutionary, skill tree. Oh yeah, Mania did have the robot spider and flying battery with, omelets. Now I remember. I'm really starting to feel as though my memory's not what it was for this game. Or this series, for that matter. Australia, yeah, yeah, I know. I will say one particular spider that definitely freaks me out is the wandering spider. Which, I suppose is kind of apt, considering it's one of the spiders that will absolutely kill you. Once your implementations are... Well, certainly glad that you decided to join us. We're just talking about wandering spiders. I think the one thing that unnerves me most about them is just how they raise their front legs before going into an attack. It's just super unnerving. Every animal in Australia... Yeah. I mean, you say that, I'm just thinking, even the kangaroos? I know the kangaroos are dangerous to mess around with, but I don't remember them being venomous. But yeah, wandering spiders do freak me out a little bit. As is natural. Oh yeah, funnel webs are also pretty scary. Especially one shows up in your house, it's just like, evacuate the building and torch it sort of a situation. I don't know why Robotnik's so super mad all of a sudden just because I taunt him. Usually he's a lot more level-headed than this. Doesn't really get this anxious until the final boss. Or at least that one time when he did have a mechanical spider in Archie and had a mental breakdown afterwards. That was also pretty wild when I think about it. Just... Oh yeah, Flynn just decided, you know what, let's just have Robotnik go into a little mental breakdown after losing to Sonic this one time. I mean, it's gonna be interesting once I eventually do get around to Flynn's supposedly good work on Archie, as opposed to him just sort of falling off during post-Genesis wave. So I said, bro, you do have been inside the speedrun Sonic Free Knuckles, no safe mode, is Knuckles inside. That is certainly a string of words. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think that's this particular set of robots is designed for you to just go ham on them with a light speed attack. I do appreciate at the very least them actually adding it in as Sonic's special post-Team Blast ability. Oh yeah, I kind of forgot the Egg Bishops here can heal you. At least I think they're called the Egg Bishops. That's also another thing that I was sort of wondering about, is that some of the robots in this game are named after chess pieces, but a lot of them aren't. Like, wouldn't it make more sense to have, like, the Egg Castle / Rook? The new Castle Big Boys and new... Ah. I see. Love being indoors during the raid meets. Oh yeah, you can one-shot the heavy boys using the light speed attack. It's like the best ability in the game, as long as you don't fall off the edge, which I am very prone to do so. Let's swap over to Tails. Really starting to feel as though, when he levels up especially, Tails really starts to become the best combat character in the game, or they're at least just flight formation characters. Get out of here, you. Bop. Alright, let's see what awaits me down below. I was too slow for the light speed attack, but alright. I can just use all of you like a ladder, it's fine. Ow. 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 Yeah, I'm starting to feel a lot more rusty at this than I thought I was. Smash them all! It's just like Twitter looking at the Smasher Pass, someone Smasher Pass, video. Smash them all! Egg Pawn, Ignite, Egg Bishop, and I'm not... Oh. Apparently I died. Never noticed an Egg Rook. Yeah, I was looking at chat there, so I'm not entirely certain as to how I died, but I guess we're just gonna have to do this again. It's not so bad once you get your level ups going. You know what, let me... Nucleus. Oh, so yeah, I forgot to mention the funny line here from Knuckles. I think he's supposed to be saying shift or just an onomatopoeia of just sha. But considering there's a lot of onomatopoeia in this game, I've noticed, but at the same time, I can't exactly say I blame people for thinking he says a particular thing when he may not actually. Yeah, Thundership really gets powerful against unarmored enemies once it's leveled up. Look at it go! Does this really count as a boss? I mean, according to this game, yeah. I'll just stick to using Knuckles here. He can break through shields, no problem. Also, yeah, it's... You can very easily avoid going off of cliffs just by not hitting the control stick. As then he just sort of mashes his punches and... then you can actually just avoid hitting stuff and going off the edge. Can't believe he got away with it. Alright, Sonic Heroes. Apparently that glitch doesn't involve the game to think Tails is hitting him in any way. Okay. I thought it was something similar. Yeah, because I think you just have to mash Y and B at the same time as far as I'm aware. The same thing told to announce the F and shift as quietly as possible while recording the line so it wasn't... Oh, so that's how it is. Thanks a bunch, Sonic Team, you and your legendary localization department. It's like, you're the very reason why JP's Sonic fans, or more specifically fans of JP Sonic, exist in the first place. Because the localization has always generally not been very good in this series. I mean, it's definitely come up with a whole bunch of golden lines, but at the same time, generally speaking, a lot of the lines have just been... It's not really been the best in terms of localization efforts. Also, yeah, this is just a free Team Blast. Switching formation at the same time, Tails starts its fun to shoot it. Yeah. I assumed it was something like that. Those were the easy ones! Hey, Robotnik, how come your mouth doesn't move when you talk? That's entirely on them, but yeah. Pretty much. Okay. Oh, that was an A rank.
I need a break from those robots.
I think one of my favorite lines from Tails in this is just saying, making robots is the same as breaking them, and this is like, no. Tails, what are you talking about? Ah yes, here we are, the most iconic part of Sonic Heroes, aside from the final boss. Enter the thorn in my side. Weep Sonic fans. Let's get this party started, Robotnik. Starting with this cool intro, looking over the biggest bottomless pit so far. Yeah, this is just another day at the office, Tails. Sonic, you don't work in an office. You know what I mean, Tails. Don't try to correct me. You know what happened last time. Actually, what did happen last time? I'm sure something will happen in another game which will make that joke even funnier. Just you wait, Tails. This is a very non-linear sequitur. Also, yeah, that is supposed to be a Sonic voice, by the way. Okay, so I want to been super vocal about how difficult strict with JP voice actors. Yeah, I've heard about that, wanting them to keep the Japanese onomatopoeia, which I think was most notable with Robotnik in Adventure 2. Especially with the Chow Garden, where he's forced to say Yosh and Usho. Those particular lines from Dean Bristow have just been imprinted into my brain for years. And they're still super entertaining to just repeat ad nauseum. Just Usho. Yeah. Ah yes, my favorite enemy in the whole game, the E2000. What's the main trick? Just wait for him to lower his shields, you dummy. I do appreciate them at the very least retaining some particular level gimmicks from levels, so it doesn't feel as though it's just a one-off thing. I generally just of the thought that it seems kind of wasteful just to use one thing for one level. I mean, if it's a pretty substantial level, then it can sort of get away with it. But I'd rather just sort of stuff be additive in a sense. Maybe that's just me rambling. Hopefully that makes sense, though. Yes, you're giving me tutorials even as we're at the penultimate level. Thanks a bunch, Knuckles. Are you supposed to be guarding the Master Arm, by the way? I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about, Sonic. The Master Emerald doesn't exist, apparently. I kind of keep forgetting the rocket excels a thing. It's like, how do we turn the spin dash into something which is team orientated? And it's just like, by making it worse. I mean, sure, you can get it to work in the context of the game, fine, but I still would just prefer a spin dash. I also really love that little Yahoo he does. It's like the contest of the Yahoos between him and Griffith. Let me at him, let me at him! He badmouthed. He was flirting with my sister! Let me at him! Oh, and he just goes down like that after all that time. Oh, golly. So this is another thing I want to stream at some point, just them going through some Bionicle stuff. But how would the Sonic franchise continue if Knuckles actually did his job? Sonic, what are you doing? Sonic, that's not how the triangle dive works. But yeah, I've been thinking about this for the longest time, and I'm kind of wondering, what if for the sort of Team Sonic dynamic they just swapped out Knuckles for Amy? Because it's not as though Amy's necessarily doing all that much nowadays. And then again, that just sort of means that Cream's kind of pointless, because she was supposed to be the Tails to Amy's Sonic, but at the same time, it kind of feels as though they're not really doing much with Cream nowadays, outside of, cameos. It's gonna remain a secret for now, this information. Oh yeah, I did hear a little bit about Sonic Blitz, and the fact that apparently, we got stuff like Modern Mighty and the Freedom Fighters. I didn't think that we'd see the Freedom Fighters at all in a game, let alone just a mobile card game. And then again, considering it is just a mobile card game, probably not going to play it in all honesty, because that generally just doesn't seem like my particular cup of tea, but it's like, this is the first time we're actually seeing the Freedom Fighters in a game since Sonic Spinball. Think about that. What does this mean for the future of the franchise? Probably nothing. Because that's one thing that I kind of been questioning a lot recently. Just, what is the current direction of the Sonic series? Because I'm starting to feel as though I've been mixing up direction and identity for a little bit, because it's kind of obvious that the Sonic series doesn't really have much of an identity at this point, just referring to reiterate on itself. Where was Vanilla in all this? That's a very good question. Where is Vanilla? Surely she would be concerned about her 6-year-old daughter going off and fighting in this massive armada. I guess she just sort of wisened up by the time Forces came around. Okay, I guess we'll just run in. Be lame like that. I suppose it would be funny if Cream was in Forces, though. It's just sort of like in the Clone Wars, where all of a sudden you just had the main characters fighting along with this random child soldier in the form of Ahsoka. It's like, yep, we just have child soldiers now. Good luck coping with that, kids who are playing this game. You could be recruited into the army at any point. That's a cool JPEG. That's a very good question, Knuckles. How does this thing stay afloat? What is this thing's propulsion, and how come there's just a whole bunch of pieces just floating in midair? I didn't mean to do that, but oh well. Part of me wants to believe that this music samples Volcano Valley Genesis a little bit, or at the very least just sounds a fair bit like it. Sort of reminds me as to what I'd want to do for streaming the classic games, because I will admit, I haven't actually 100% completed stuff like 3D Blast and CD, so kind of feel I'd not exactly be the best authority for playing those. Blast away. In all things considered, I'd say we're making fairly decent time, or at least the sort of time I would have expected for this. Obviously, I expect Team Dark and Team Chaotix to be a fair bit longer, so... Ah yes, the tornado jump. As opposed to the blue tornado. It really feels as though they're just mixing up a whole bunch of techniques at this late stage in the game, throwing you off balance. Because is it the blue tornado? Is it the tornado jump? Who can say? Free Blast and CD, because I suppose the thing is, I don't necessarily dislike those games, just never really sat down and played through them fully, especially 3D Blast. Or is it 3D Flicky's Island? At least the Golden E2000. Another robot who is my absolute favorite to go up against. I think our best bet is just stun him. Fantastic. Can't say I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I think we might be here for a little bit. Remember, people used to say this is the best Sonic game of all time. Or at least one of. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still definitely enjoy this game, just... that can happen. Have you heard of Spark v Electric Jet? Yeah, I've played Spark 3 at the very least, but I can't say I've heard of Lunistis. That's a new one to me. Did definitely have a fair bit of fun with Spark 3 at the very least. Not entirely certain if that could be considered the best of the bunch. Could have sworn there was a little bit of controversy at the very least with Spark 2. I think it was Spark 2. It was one of those weird instances where they really tried to combine the high-speed arcade platforming with more sort of DMC-style combat, and it may just be me, but those two sort of gameplay styles really felt mutually exclusive to me. Like, it was like oil and water a little bit. I mean, it was definitely fun for what it was, but it doesn't necessarily change my mind on the fact that I'm not entirely certain if combat is really the best thing for this series to really necessarily have. I don't mind a lot of the spectacle stuff, like in Unleashed, for example, but I think out-and-out combat is not exactly cursed being an old video game. Well, you know, there's a bunch of old video games which don't have these problems. Like a fairly certain something like San Andreas or Snake Eater doesn't have these issues, and they came out the same year. I mean, Halo 2 I will give you, considering that game, it's a miracle it was released in the same way, Thanks, game. Anyways, as I was saying, it is kind of a miracle that Halo 2 came out the way it did, considering Microsoft just wanted to release it as just the most low-effort sequel slot possible, and basically broke Bungie in the process. There we go, you just have to not touch the control stick there. Thanks a bunch, game. Alright. If I can actually... Oh, he's firing his laser! In your own time. Boy, do I sure love fighting these particular enemies. Yeah, it feels as though those guys don't stay all that stunned all that long. Drop the Lunistis. I mean, it sounds interesting enough if it is a Sonic-like in the similar way that Spark was. Another Sonic, I'm not entirely certain as to whether you would call it a Sonic-like, but I did enjoy playing a fair bit of Haste for a while. I know it's gotten some more recent updates, but it's like that's the sort of high-speed arcade action I'm looking for in this series. Just it's a speed platformer roguelike, I suppose is the best way of calling it, where You have to survive outrunning basically the end of the universe. I just remember this game doesn't have that many, sounds like your chip voice in this game. Yeah, I just remember this game doesn't have that much in terms of invincibility frames, so I think we're going to be stuck here for a while. Yeah, I also heard a lot of good stuff about Freedom Planet as well. I don't know, it still kind of feels as though Sonic likes are still a fair bit of an untapped territory a little bit. I've seen some proofs of concept of the more just sort of early access and beta stuff at the moment. Let's try this again and hopefully not die instantly. Because I think it... Yeah, I don't necessarily remember the invincibility frames in this game being that strict. It's like, come on, game. Freedom Planet is a beautiful place. Yeah, I've definitely heard a lot of good stuff about Freedom Planet. I've only played a little bit of the first game, though. Alright, enough of you. So does the AC, so not entirely break. Gotcha. I'll keep that in mind. And look at that, it also destroys the cannons. So now I can just do this part unimpeded. I'm just thinking there's so many games in this particular era which I want to play at some point. Like Republic Commando immediately comes to mind. Because I didn't finish that one either, and it's just like... Oh yeah, that's a game that I remember hearing a lot of good stuff about. Oh yes, we get to hear this voice line a whole lot as well. Their attack is mounting. Attack from the rear. Yeah, this whole section really doesn't want you hitting the control stick more than necessary, I've noticed. Because, like, if you hit the control stick at all when you're on those rails, you can basically just kiss your perfect run bye-bye. That's some good 2D Sonic adjacent. Yeah. That's mostly what I know Freedom Planet for, just being a 2D Sonic-like. In a time where people were growing increasingly tired with the way Sonic was being handled at that time. And that being said, I'm not entirely convinced that it's much better nowadays. With stuff like Frontiers and Superstars and Prime. Shad Gen, I'd say, is the best we've gotten, but that's on account of it being generations. Goodbye. I'd be amazed if I got anything above an E. There we go. Just want to make sure I got some Team Blast ready. I do definitely love this little switch here, because I have no idea what it's supposed to be connected to. It's like, where are the wires? Where's the old connective tissue stuff for that particular switch? It's just sort of suspended on a flat bit of corrugated metal. Yeah, I think that was a bit of a mistake. Oh! Managed to sneak in a nice little cheeky lightspeed attack there at the very least. Never underestimate Sonic speed, I suppose. Ah yes, this is the reason why I often tend to just spam Team Blasts at this point, because 3 of these guys at once is kind of ridiculous. I think that's the last we're gonna need that. I actually like Superstars, feel a lot better if it wasn't designed and marketed around yeah, pretty much. Like, I do definitely like the idea of a multiplayer-themed Sonic game, mostly because I have a lot of fond memories of the multiplayer in this and Adventure 2, but it really just wasn't handled well, and the fact that one player was always off screen, and because it was multiplayer, the boss fights took forever. And I literally mean forever. Even the Black Dragon, even though that was supposed to be single player. Ah yes, everybody's favorite part of this level. Nailed it first try. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people struggle with that particular part, but, nah. I'd win. It is kind of a shame as well, because I really feel as though Superstars had a lot of the stuff in order to make it work, and I feel if it just was focused around more single player with more balanced bosses, it would have been fine. I will give the bosses in this game a little bit of credit though, where unlike in Superstars and in Rush, you have various opportunities throughout the entire game to actually damage the boss, as opposed to just having to wait. That's where he's saying the fun to shoot sketty. That's what he's trying to say, spaghetti. I guess that's just more onomatopoeia for you. Haha, it's funny because you have a bunch of chess pieces for robots. It's kind of weird that this is called the Egg Emperor, not the Egg King in that case, because this is the big piece, though I suppose that this is supposed to be the ultimate of his, robots in this game. I suppose it would make sense for it to be called the Egg Queen. Well, I imagine that would be kind of weird here, have Robotnik going around in a robot called the Egg Queen. Ah yes, everybody's favorite boss fight in this game. Here's how you do it. You level up Tails to, at the very least, level 2. Then you hang in the air like this. Spam Thunder Shoot and wiggle the control stick. And he just can't do anything. Apparently you can also use Thunder Shoot to destroy the missiles, but again, they do kind of get stuck on stuff. Look at that health bar drop. Time to pay, Robotnik. No!
All right.
I do at the very least remember them doing a sort of co-op mode for 06. What does wrangling the control stick do? It's basically controls where your Thunder Shoot goes, so you could just have Sonic and Knuckles just scooting back and forth, hitting the Egg Emperor multiple times.
Boy, talk about
It's kind of weird, actually, that the Egg Albatross is technically the toughest boss in this game.
Scared. If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have had a chance.
Well, maybe you're right.
Thanks, Knuckles. You're lucky that we actually had a competent writer for this, because if it was Pontac or Graf, or even Flynn, I probably would have just done this on my own, and you would have just been background dressing, making references. Anyways, it's time for me to go get chased by Amy again, just like good old times. Ah. It's kind of weird. Despite all the jank you clearly saw there, I can't necessarily bring myself to hate this game. I guess it's just the rose-tinted glasses talking, just... I know it's not necessarily a good game, presentation is questionable, level design is questionable, jank, and way too many bottomless pits. But I can still find a means of enjoying it. It's like... Aside from the plasticine models, I feel a lot of the presentation of this game just really feels like one big celebration. Even you could just blitz the Albatross with the power... I suppose it just depends on the power character, really, because they have a hard time keeping up most of the time. As Sonic just zooms in on the camera again. Ah yes, we get to see the X-Tornado just crash into the canyon wall again. 7 out of 10, I'd say more a 6. In all honesty, 6.5. I feel a lot of games just warrant a 7 out of 10, though. Sure, it might be a 7 out of 10 in my heart, but I feel objectively it's a little bit lower than that. Like, especially given the gaming climate at this time, it just sort of feels like a relic of a bygone era. If that makes any sense. Like, it makes sense within the context of the Dreamcast games, but this was in a time where you had games like San Andreas, Metal Gear Solid 3, Halo 2, just... It's like they wanted to go big with this, but it's kind of obvious that Sonic was no longer the big face of gaming he was back in 2001. Sonic Team Rose boss fights means Shadow and Sonic beat up a... I mean, Team Dark never fight Team Rose. If it's too easy, it's not cool. I mean, I do get that, but I think I've mentioned in the past preferring something which is easy but fun, rather than challenging, kind of frustrating, as is the case with Superstars. Try super hard mode, no thank you. Maybe I'll make that a separate thing, but for now, I think that's gonna do it for me. Oh, credits were still going. It's like, you jumped the gun a little bit there, game. Credits went by a little bit quicker than the FMV. Yep, it's the cutscene we just saw. Tune in next time when I guess we move on to Team Dark. Makes the most sense considering it's next in line. Probably gonna do Team Rose last, like I did last time, so we have more room on stream for other stuff, but... Stream was... Well, I'm glad you all seem to enjoy it. Tune in next time for Team Dark, but until then, thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you next time. Let me just get some good music on to play us out. Anti-flicker. Here we go, extras. Yeah, this is a good thing to play it out. Thanks a bunch, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.